and welcome to this presentation about our 21st Century Schools programme. 21st Century Schools is the British Council's flagship programme for the Western Balkans. It's a combination of the British Council's own critical thinking and problem-solving skills teacher training course with the use of the microbit, a pocket-sized computer that enables children to learn to code and to see practical demonstrations of what they're learning through using the microbits. The programme was developed as a result of a piece of work we did back in 2016 that worked with ministries of education across the Western Balkans on the global problem of what to do about the digital skills gap and how to better equip children for the world of work in the future, particularly when we don't know exactly what that world of work is going to look like. And that paper came up with some specific options for how ministries in the Western Balkans might move forward with tackling that challenge in this part of the world. And the result of that was the pilot of the 21st Century Schools programme, where we worked initially with 10 schools in each of the countries of the Western Balkans in partnerships with the Ministries of National Education. The pilot was successful, and as a result of the Western Balkans Summit in 2018, the UK government generously supported the scaling up of this programme to reach every single public primary school in the Western Balkans. In total, this programme is running in 4,000 schools, working with 4,000 school leaders, with all ministries of education. It's reaching around 1 million 10 to 15-year-olds and training 18,000 teachers. The programme has also resulted in changes of policy in each of the countries, in line with their national education strategies, including changes to the curricula and some changes to the way that the introduction of coding has happened within the curricula. And we're very proud of the programme. It's had great results. It's loved by ministries, by teachers, by school leaders, by parents, and most importantly, by the children who are participating in it. And I think there are a few reasons for the programme's success. And they are, first, the programme has continued in partnership with the Ministries of Education. That's vitally important for the sustainability and the long-term success. Second, the programme's combination of digital skills with these other core skills, critical thinking and problem solving. And not only do the teachers get trained in critical thinking and problem solving, and the kids learn how to code using the microbits, whilst the kids are working on their practical programmes, they also get to develop their communications and their team working skills. And these skills, of course, are vitally important to employers in the future. Third, the programme at its heart is really about developing the capacity of teachers and investing in upskilling teachers for the future. And really that is the only way to close a digital skills gap in a sustainable way and for the long term. And finally, the microbits themselves are very versatile, very sustainable, and relatively cheap compared to other possible technological solutions, and the kids really enjoy working with them. Over the course of the programme so far, we have successfully put more than 100,000 microbits into classrooms in 4,000 schools across the Western Balkans. But apart from the project meeting its key aims and objectives, there have been other successes that we're very proud of. The programme has really appealed to girls, and we've seen an increase in interest of girls into coding and finding out more about the kind of career pathways that might be open to them in the future. The programme has also helped teachers identify talent in kids that they previously hadn't seen the talent in, and it's reached out to some more vulnerable and marginalised communities. And it's been valuable also in creating a level playing field between urban and rural schools. We've faced challenges, as has anyone running a programme these last few years, with the global pandemic and how to rapidly, successfully turn a blended learning offer into an online offer. And later in this video, we'll be talking a little bit more in detail on how we have done that, and importantly, how we have done that without losing satisfaction rates between the teachers who are participating in that course. So please stay with us. We have partners from ministries talking about how important digital skills are to their education policy, colleagues talking more about the report into vulnerable children and communities. We have teachers talking about their experience in the classroom with this programme. We have colleagues speaking about the way this programme has impacted on collaboration between countries in the Western Balkans. And finally, we have colleagues talking about partnerships with this programme between governments and the British Council, and particularly how this programme has expanded in new ways and to give more teachers the opportunity to benefit from these skills being offered.
Hello everybody, dear participants. It is a real pleasure for me to participate in this digital summit for the importance of 21st Century Schools program in the Western Balkans. First of all, I want to emphasize the vision we have for Albania 2030, in which the main objective is to equip our youth with digital skills, because facing new millennial challenges requires a special attention in developing our young people with new skills, competencies and qualifications. We want Albanian students to have in their future right knowledges and competitive digital skills, likewise their European peers. Nowadays, we are not only paying attention to practical abilities in mathematics, Albanian language or sciences, but also to digital skills, by bearing in mind that the results will be seen in long run, when the future generations will be already in the labor market. In other words, this means that we have put concepts of good citizen and successful employee at the heart of our educational system, through which Albania 2030 will not anymore be a vision, but a fact. In this framework, 21st Century Schools program is very important to us and a necessary brick to our philosophy we are working. On this regard, I express the deepest gratitude to the British Council for the fruitful and good results in almost 800 schools in Albania, and with approximately 3,000 well-trained teachers. Consequently, thanks to this ambitious program, we have now students with more developed critical thinking and more practical abilities in problem solving. When I became Minister of Education exactly 1 year ago, I saw closely how this program was being implemented in our schools. And sincerely speaking, I was totally surprised with the skills our students had gained through this project. And at the same time, I was filled with optimism for brighter futures today's students will have tomorrow. The program goes hand by hand and supports directly also lots of investments and reforms we are already undertaking. Let me mention here the construction and reconstruction of new schools, new labs, and especially IT infrastructure, enrichment of school libraries, sports grounds, etc., etc. In the recent years, we have been witnesses on how technology and digitalization have brought people closer. In this framework, programs like 21st Century Schools and every kind of digitalization programs will enhance opportunities between countries to cooperate in different directions too. Finally, let me thank you all for your time, and hopefully we will have a good summit with lots of experiences to share with each other. Thank you very much.
Priča o digitalnoj transformaciji programa škole za 21. vek u velikoj meri je povezana sa aktivnostima koje smo čuli u prezentaciji o albanskom iskustvu, jer je uključivala konsultacije i aktivnu saradnju među učesnicima sa Zapadnog Balkana. Svi smo zajedno tragali za rješenjima kako brzo reagovati na krizu u obrazovanju usled pandemije izazvane virusom COVID-19 i o tome će biti reči u mojoj prezentaciji. Program škole za 21. vek je pokazao veoma pozitivne iskustva. Nastavnici i direktori su visoko ocenili realizaciju ovog programa, napomenuli da odgovara na potrebe u njihovim obrazovnim sistemima, ali i istakli neke poteškoće sa kojima se suočavaju u primjeni znanja i vještina stečenih na ovim obukama. Rješenje za pripremu kvalitetnih online obuka smo pronašli u primjeni Moodle platforme, na kojoj istovremeno možete realizovati veliki broj obuka, koristiti različite mogućnosti i alate za realizaciju obuke, za praćenje i evaluaciju rada na Moodle platformi, kao što su videokonferencije, videozapisi, upitnici, prilozi, različiti materijali, organizovane grupom rada i sl. Ključ našeg uspeha u transformaciji je bila regionalna saradnja. Mi smo u našem regionalnom timu imali stručnjake za sadržaj, instrukcione dizajnere, administratore za Moodle platformu i prevodioce. Naravno, ceo proces se odvija uz veliku podršku Britanskog savjeta i ja sada sa ponosom mogu da kažem da smo mi uspešno obavili naš posao. Online transformacija realizovana je u kriznom kontekstu pandemije u uporedu u 6 obrazovnih sistema. Naši prvi zajednički koraci bili su izbor odgovarajućih tehničkih rješenja, odnosno servera i odgovarajuće verzije Moodle. Transformacija je zahtevala pažljivu analizu postojećih ciljeva i ishoda i njihovu adaptaciju, odnosno adaptaciju sadržaja, aktivnosti, materijala i priloga za rad u digitalnom okruženju, što je bio jedan mali izazov. Obuke su u najvećoj meri realizovane kroz asinhroni pristup, što znači da su učesnici imali mogućnosti da rade i napreduju sopstvenim tempom, a to je naravno predstavljalo izazov za odgovarajuću realizaciju grupnih zadataka. Pored toga, regionalni pristup je tražio razmatranje specifičnosti i zahteva u različitim obrazovnim sistemima. Na primjer, obuka za direktore u Srbiji je jednodnevna, u ostatku regiona dvodnevna. Obuka na makedonskom jeziku se realizuje kroz sinhroni pristup i uz nešto izmenjen program i sl. Mi smo pripremili obuke za nastavnike na više jezika, na albanskom, srpskom, crnogorskom, makedonskom, a obuke u Bosni i Hercegovini su pripremljene na 3 jezika, što je bio poseban tehnički izazov. Nakon postavljanja materijala na Moodle platformi realizovali smo trening za obuku trenera i tu smo imali priliku da još jednom proverimo različite aspekte naše obuke, a da se posebno osvrnemo na uputstva za moderatore i način njihovog rada na ovoj platformi. Već sam pomenuo da smo bili usmereni na ostvarivanje ciljeva i ishoda u digitalnom okruženju i tu smo posebnu pažnju posvetili uputstvima za učesnike zbog toga što znamo da jedan broj njih nema dovoljno razvijene digitalne kompetencije. Napisali smo detaljna uputstva za način rada, kretanje kroz Moodle platformu, način komunikacije, primjenu određenih aktivnosti, ciljeve, ishode, program obuke, kao i praćenje aktivnosti i način završetka obuke. U okviru našeg rada posebno je bila važna uloga moderatora koji je imao složen zadatak da podstiče, motiviše, daje povratne informacije, pomaže učesnicima da završe obuku, podstiče grupni rad i sl. Moderatori su to radili koristeći različite načine komunikacije. Na primjer, na Moodle platformi koristili su obavještenja, lične poruke i pružali ličnu, direktnu pomoć učesnicima kojima je ona bila potrebna. Kvalitetan grupni rad je bio također veliki izazov. Trebalo je brojne aktivnosti sa obuke uživo koje su se odvijale kroz grupni rad prebaciti u online okruženje. Da bismo to uspjeli, mi smo koristili forume za rad malih grupa, pa bi onda nakon dobijanja povratne informacije od moderatora koordinatori grupa postavljali zaključke na zajednički forum gdje su svi polaznici obuke mogli da vide i komentarišu njihov rad. Što se tiče obuka bez moderacije, kod njih smo morali da dodajemo određene sadržaje, uputstva, lekcije, pitanja i testove za provjeru znanja. Ove obuke nemaju povratne informacije, odnosno učesnici obuka ne dobijaju povratne informacije od moderatora, pa smo posebno se potrudili da u odeljku razmisli, analizira i primjeni, kao i u upitnicima, pronađemo način da ih podstaknemo da sami razmišljaju o svojoj sopstvenoj praksi i da tako dodatno dobiju određenu korist od ovog programa. Što se tiče upotrebe Moodle platforme za organizaciju mentorskih sastanaka, svi prilozi i obrasci su bili postavljeni na određenom delu platforme. Pored toga, učesnici su mogli da postavljaju svoje domaće zadatke za prvi i drugi mentorski sastanak i da nakon dobijenih sugestija mentora menjaju te svoje pripreme, projekte i tematske dane i postavljaju izmenjene korigovane verzije, što je značajno olakšalo i ubrzalo komunikaciju u ovom delu naše obuke. Evaluacija obuka je pokazala da su obuke bile veoma uspešne. Od januara do juna 2021. godine oko 2000 nastavnika u 4 zemlje pohađalo je ovu obuku, kao i 179 direktora u 3 zemlje, a obuka na Kosovu i u Makedoniji se u isto vrijeme odvijala uživo i zanimljivo je uporediti rezultate ove dve obuke. Treba da podsjetim da učesnici pre i na kraju obuke rade ulazni, odnosno izlazni upitnik i da se tako meri procenat u napretku sticanja znanja. Ovdje je bilo vidljivo da su sve zemlje ostvarile napredak koji je veći od 20%, što je bio početni zamišljeni pokazatelj, i tako se pokazalo da nema razlike u kvalitetu obuke koja se realizuje online i kvalitetu obuke koja se realizuje uživo. Također interesantan je podatak da je čak 90% nastavnika u Srbiji, Bosni i Hercegovini i Crnoj Gori uspešno završilo ovu obuku, što je veoma veliki broj za okruženje na Moodle platformi, a često je procenat onih koji odustaju i ne završavaju ovaj kurs značajno veći. Nastavnici su veoma visoko ocenili kvalitet različitih aspekata obuke. Na uzorku od 700 nastavnika možemo vidjeti da su ocenama 4 i 5, dakle najvećim ocenama, visoko ocenili opšte informacije dobijene na obuci, preglednost, mogućnost kretanja, kvalitet lekcija, radnih materijala, mentorsku i tehničku podršku. I ono o čemu još dodatno možemo da razmišljamo je kako se sada ovo što smo radili, ove obuke, mogu iskoristiti za dalji rad. Svakako na nivou regiona i obuke sa moderacijom i obuke bez moderacije mogu se i dalje koristiti. Potrebna su neka minimalna ulaganja, na primjer u obuke sa moderacijom potrebno je ulaganje da bi se obezbedilo upravljanje i vođenje kursa, a kada su u pitanju obuke sa moderacijom i obuke bez moderacije, one se mogu koristiti i u drugim obrazovnim sistemima. Tu je potrebno razmišljati pored ovoga i o eventualnom prilagođavanju nekim specifičnostima obrazovnih sistema u određenoj zemlji. Ove naše obuke su bile čvrsto zasnovane na postavljenim ciljevima i ishodima, već isprobane, realizovane, evaluirane u Moodle okruženju, tako da smatramo da mogu da budu veoma korisne u daljem radu. Pored toga, ono što smo također vidjeli je da Moodle platforma, pored mogućnosti za obuke nastavnika, može da bude sjajna platforma uopšte za učenje na daljinu. dakle, nastavnici, škole i obrazovni sistemi mogu je koristiti i u druge svrhe. Hvala vam na pažnji.
Hi, my name is Vanja Madžgalj. I am director of the British Council in Montenegro. Like across the Western Balkans countries, Montenegro too has been engaged with the 21st Century Program. And back in 2017, when we implemented this program for the first time in our pilot stage, we have seen a lot of enthusiasm both from teachers and students. Why? Because students were able to learn new skills through discovery, through play, through exploration, through creative work, through teamwork, and this created special bonds with their teachers. We were very happy to see the first results, and that's why we signed a full-fledged 3-year program with the Ministry of Education back in 2019. We have worked on several fronts. We work with school leaders to understand the environment, how to support the teachers, how to create an environment of change for digital transformation. We work with teachers, a selected number of teachers, on introducing critical thinking, problem solving in the classroom, but also outside of the classroom, and how to integrate digital skills in not usual suspect subjects such as English language or even physical education. But we also work with policymakers in the Bureau for Education on enhancing the curriculum for IT and to introducing coding as part of the mandatory program in grades 5 to 8. We also created a framework of digital skills which has a very wide span of application. It works for preschool institutions such as kindergartens, but also all the way to secondary schools. So all these activities together create a very strong foundation for the digital transformation to pick up and continue on its successful trajectory. But in Montenegro, we managed to take this program to the next level. So let me tell you a story about how we managed to expand this program, to scale it up, and to achieve a full system transformation. We engaged directly with top officials in the government of Montenegro. We wanted to show them what this program is really doing. We wanted to show the results. We wanted to show the projects that students were creating. So we brought a group of students, their teachers, and their projects in different fields. Children created projects in the fields of biology, ecology, farming. They created projects to help elderly people, to help children with learning difficulties, or to improve safety on the roads. So these were really projects that are useful to the community, and this is exactly what we've been working with children about. We wanted them to think about problems in their immediate community or about global problems, and to try to find a solution, to create a solution by applying digital skills of coding, but also technical skills and also other skills in specific fields like biology or geography and so on. The officials in the government of Montenegro, I must say, were impressed by the creativity of the children, but they're also impressed by the potential of this program. They have seen how this program is actually supporting the national economic strategy, which is now looking to diversify and to be based more on innovation and knowledge. So the role of the education system, including at a very early age in primary school, is to support development of critical skills such as innovation and coding skills, programming skills, but also critically important soft skills such as creativity, collaboration, and working in a team, understanding the problem, flexibility, and so on. And this program was really embracing all of these skills together. We were using a small device such as microbit to develop a range of critically important soft skills. Having seen the impact of this program in the classroom and on the children, and having seen the potential for the long term, the government of Montenegro decided to support this program with significant funding to expand it to include every teacher in the primary education, including teachers teaching lower levels, younger learners from age 6 all the way to age 15. This has enabled us to achieve a stronger impact on the system, to almost achieve a full system impact, because now we have teachers across the board of every subject in every grade of primary school understanding and applying the principles of critical thinking, problem solving, and coding in the classroom. So we have engaged in a very dynamic training program, but we have also included support staff in schools such as psychologists who are helping children with their behavior and their performance, but also pedagogues who are responsible for professional development of teachers. So in this way, coupled with all the other activities in the program, really created a very strong platform, a very strong foundation for further development of digital skills, further development of critical thinking and innovation in the primary education system. We have achieved this through a really successful and engaged partnership with the Ministry of Education, Culture, Science and Sport, who have been with us all along, who have understand the importance of this program, because this is not a process that is taking place just in the education system, but it's part of the much larger social change where the education system is working with other stakeholders in the sector of economy, sector of science, sector of business, sector of public administration, digital society, and so on. So I would like to encourage the Ministry of Education to continue with the implementation of this program and to understand that this is just the beginning. This is just a very strong foundation, but there is so much to be done. There is a need to continue to train new school leadership, and there is also the need to create new quality control and quality assurance mechanisms so that we ensure that this is being implemented in a consistent and coherent way across the board. We need to encourage teachers to embrace digital skills across the subjects and to break the stereotypes that microbit is only for the IT classroom, or coding is just for boys, or this is just for high achievers. Through this program, we have seen that girls are equally attracted to this new way of learning. We have seen a lot of creativity from our girls, and we're very happy to see that this is changing their perception, and we need to continue doing that. We need to continue to empower our girls to embrace STEM sciences and be able to access this profitable industry. So the Ministry of Education is embarking on a very important assignment of developing their own program of digital transformation, which will be part of a much larger digital strategy. So we would like to encourage them to continue with the same enthusiasm and to work with the international partners on achieving a sustainable model and on promoting a new way of learning, promoting creativity and innovation in the classroom as the basis for growth and development.
I'm delighted that schools all across the 6 Western Balkan countries are championing critical thinking, problem solving and coding using microbits. Education systems globally, and in this region especially, need to better meet the needs of labour markets. It is possible and essential. I've seen this in practice thanks to the 21st Century Schools programme, with students aged 10 to 15 participating in coding challenges. Young people from all over the country come together and demonstrate their coding skills, and to spend time together, connecting and exchanging experiences. When the regional coding challenge took place in Belgrade, school students from Bosnia and Herzegovina won. This achievement took them to London to present their Smart House alongside 800 of the world's leading exhibitors in education technologies. Seeing these young students, Anna Maria and Nemanja, with their teacher, visiting London and presenting at Bet Show, gave us a glimpse of significant impact that programs like this can make on young people's lives. This experience certainly marked their education, but perhaps could also mark their future careers. London was also host to education ministers from all 6 Western Balkans countries. They attended the World Education Forum together and had the opportunity to meet, to understand mutual challenges and to exchange ideas. In January 2022, we hope to repeat this at the new Education World Forum. Having in mind the complex history of conflict in this region, we find these gatherings very valuable. Conflict sensitivity makes implementation of this regional programme challenging in many areas. Here in Bosnia and Herzegovina, implementation of the programme required in particular high levels of awareness and sensitivity. This included extensive consultations with key stakeholders, including government officials, school leaders, trainers, teachers, pupils, parents, and the wider community. Also included complex analysis of social, political, ethnic, and other external factors relevant to all meetings, training events, and publicity activities. Additional screening and planning was dedicated to scheduling, trainer-pair matching of trainers with locations, and monitoring dynamics in order to prevent potential tensions and mitigate common risks. The British Council also ensured provision of all materials in all 3 constitutional languages for all stakeholders to choose from, an essential rather than desirable feature. All this resulted in school leaders and teachers from divided cities like Mostar attending training sessions together and realising how they all face similar challenges. Unfortunately, it is not often that they have opportunities like this. Being part of a large regional programme makes it even more meaningful. Another important aspect of this large programme is sustainability. The 21st Century Schools programme in Bosnia and Herzegovina and the Western Balkans will, as its legacy, leave behind a variety of tools and resources which teachers and students will have at their disposal in their schools. One such valuable legacy is the establishment of coding clubs in each elementary school in BIH, where students can explore working with microbit and other coding tools and gadgets with which they can solve everyday problems within their schools and communities. School coding clubs have provided opportunities for students to employ their creative thinking and to design projects which solve complex problems. It is truly inspiring to see young people help their communities and to become better places for all.
Zdravo! Moje ime je Adis Pirija, Bachelor Managementa informacionih tehnologija i nastavnik sam informatike, matematike, fizike i tehničke kulture u osnovnoj školi Suljo Čilić Jablanica, Bosna i Hercegovina. Već nekoliko godina, pored redovne nastave sa učenicima, radim projekte iz robotike i programiranja. Kroz rad sa Lego robotima i Arduino setovima, naši učenici su svake godine bilježili zapažene rezultate. 2017. godine smo učestvovali i na svjetskom takmičenju iz robotike u Šangaju, odakle smo donijeli 2 nagrade. U zadnje vrijeme u našoj školi se provodi program Škole za 21. vijek. Zbog malog broja časova redovne nastave informatike, program provodimo kroz vannastavne aktivnosti, sekcije i coding klub. 2021. godine naši učenici su učestvovali na takmičenju iz programiranja uz upotrebu mikrobita, gdje su osvojili 2. mjesto sa projektom Pametni semafor, kojeg smo također prijavili i na takmičenje Do Your Beat. Učenici su ukupno uradili 3 projekta pomoću mikrobita. Projekat Pametni semafor prikazuje poboljšanje propusnosti saobraćaja kroz raskrsnicu sa semaforima u gradu Jablanica i samim tim smanjenje zagađenosti ugljen monoksidom kojeg ispuštaju automobili. Učenici su projekat radili u grupi i time razvijali socijalizaciju i kooperativnost. Izradili su maketu raskrsnice i tako napravili poveznicu sa predmetom tehnička kultura, a razvijali su i svoju motoriku. Razmišljali su o načinu poboljšanja propusnosti saobraćaja pomoću adekvatnog upravljanja semaforima i tako razvijali kritičko mišljenje. Programirali su mikrobitove da upravljaju sa semaforima i ultrasonik senzorom i na taj način razvijali svoje logičko razmišljanje te znanje iz informatike. Izračunavali su koliko automobili ispuštaju ugljen monoksida i za koliko će se to zagađenje smanjiti, pa su tako koristili znanja stečena na predmetu hemije. Sve što su radili prezentovali su kroz video gdje su sami bili i glumci, i režiseri, i montažeri. U drugom projektu, automatsko zalijevanje biljaka, učenici su uz pomoć mikrobita napravili sistem po kojem se biljka zalijeva vodom ukoliko je vlažnost zemlje u saksiji ispod dozvoljene. Napravljena je poveznica sa predmetom biologija, odnosno priroda i društvo, pošto se radi o učenicima 5. razreda. Učenik je prezentovao gotov projekat svojim drugarima na času kada je učiteljica pričala o biljkama. Projekat Pametno invalidno pomagalo je pored svega navedenog imao i još jedan veoma bitan faktor kojeg učenici razvijaju, a to je empatija. Empatija je jedna od najljepših ljudskih osobina. Ona je temelj svih ponašanja koje povezujemo s dobrotom, te je izvor suosjećanja, altruizma, požrtvovanosti i milosrđa. Kroz sve projekte učenici otkrivaju zanimanja, interese, afinitete, nadarenosti itd. Naglašene su veze između predmeta koje nisu očigledne. Uloga nastavnika jeste da pripremi sve kako bi učenici najviše samostalno dolazili do rješenja. Nastavnik je vodič. On omogućava učeniku da na zadatu temu, problem, zadatak, osmisli rješenje u saradnji sa svojim drugarima, nađe i razvije korake koji će dovesti do tog rješenja, realizuje to i napravi, a zatim i programira, te na kraju vidi rezultat svoga rada. To je neprocjenjivo. British Council je to prepoznao, donirao školama mikrobitove i hvala im na tome.
Greetings all. My name is Ivana Aleksić. I am a senior education advisor of the British Council working in the region of the Western Balkans. Today, I'll talk about the recent research we carried out in the region of the Western Balkans, looking at the impact the program 21st Century Schools had on empowerment of children attending regular schools who we can recognize as vulnerable. Vulnerability, for the purposes of this research, is very broadly constructed, and it really reflects the policies of the Western Balkans 6 and their education systems, which the research observed. So children with learning difficulties or with disabilities, children coming from families with low socioeconomic status or from disadvantaged families, including kids without parental care. Further on, Roma and children coming from other ethnic minority groups were also a part of this research. The research looked at the cases of girls or gender aspect of vulnerability, as well as the divide and differences between rural and urban schools. In total, 12 case studies were carried out. As you probably by now know, the original design of the program 21st Century Schools didn't envision any particular intervention in support of vulnerable children, given the sheer scope of the program across the Western Balkan 6. However, somewhere in the midst of the program implementation, we have heard a lot of testimonies by teachers and our trainers and mentors supporting schools who actually evidence a number of situations where students and parents and teachers have been telling them about the positive effects the pedagogy used in the implementation of this program helped engage in a more substantive sense kids understood or perceived as more vulnerable. In short, research findings prove that this scattered evidence we had from our implementing partners was in fact true. But I would like to also share with you additional highlights brought about this research. First of all, what we have understood, and it was clearly expressed by the findings, is that there was a good decision to combine problem solving, critical thinking and problem solving skills on the one hand and digital and coding skills on the other. Both are seen as life skills, and what is more, they're seen as something that is important to be taught to all children. We originally understood there would be for sure interest among motivated or more talented children to engage in learning coding, as opposed to children who do not have this opportunity coming from wealthier families and with some sort of interest that has been already developed for learning. But we now can say that this program supports both ends of the inclusive spectrum. On the one hand, it supports the children with exceptional abilities and extremely high motivation and drive for learning, but at the same time, it engages and highly motivates vulnerable kids. The case studies from the Western Balkans 6 proved the benefits of these new pedagogical approaches and showed that combining learning of problem solving and coding skills really increased analytical and critical thinking skills of children. Working in problem-oriented project teams helped remove barriers for the vulnerable kids. But also the use of microbit across different school subjects increased motivation and ability to apply skills including kids with disabilities. We have noticed that direct benefits to the vulnerable children were many. At this time, we can say that we can differentiate between individual benefits experienced by children, but also some group benefits and benefits the school experienced as an organization for itself. Children who are vulnerable have been more self-confident, and their educational aspirations have been improved as a result of their experience in working in peer groups, in teams, and having specific designated roles to which they were able to rise. Empathy and social sensitivity for disabled peers have been improved across the countries. Peer collaboration in classrooms and in schools led to specific school projects and community outreach activities which actively promoted diversity and inclusion. The research has shown that particular benefits of the program went to the position of girls who, as stereotypes of the regions have been showing, are often discouraged to take part in the roles linked to the ICT. So benefits, of course, didn't stay limited to the children. They extend to teachers as well as principals, and we have testimonies of parents saying the same. To illustrate the point that I'm making, I wanted also to share with you a few testimonies we have collected in much larger numbers. So here is a statement by a boy coming from socioeconomic disadvantaged family from the city of Tuzla, Bosnia and Herzegovina, who expresses his pride in the success achieved at the coding competition and shares the positive impressions about how his parents are proud of his success. At the same time, it does seem that, at least today, he is oriented or interested in becoming an electrical engineer in later life. The primary school teacher coming from Terce, from North Macedonia, testifies about the usefulness of the use of the microbit, the computational device that gave the tangible dimension of coding to kids and helped a lot engage them in practice. The teacher testifies how microbit helps children engage and create meaningful links between different topics in different subject areas. One girl from grade 9, which attends primary school in Montenegro, was really eloquently put in trying to describe her excitement with the program. She says, "Now that I've seen that I can do it, then I know I can do everything in life." In thinking about closing this brief presentation and leaving some reflections and recommendations for the future, let me say that our critical insights from the research I have presented are the following. Acquisition of transversal skills requires innovative pedagogical approaches, and certainly critical thinking, problem solving and coding, they fall into this description, transversal skills. Learning, problem solving and coding should be done in primary education as a life skill. So we shouldn't limit those interested in IT just to narrowly specialize in becoming professionals who are good at programming. We need to recognize a wide application across different subjects of coding and digital skills more broadly, and the work that children find inspirational and empowering. Systemic support to developing these skills, however, in vulnerable children is needed. It's possible, but it does require additional effort. We have learned through the implementation of the 21st Century Schools program across the Western Balkans that there's a specific value of collaboration, both as a skill and as a learning method. It does lead to satisfying not only learning outcomes, but to satisfying social outcomes as well. I'll leave you with that. Thank you.